You know that feeling when you're getting totally mixed signals? Well, right now, that's pretty much the entire global energy market. It's a landscape of deep, powerful contradictions. And in this explainer, we're going to untangle this puzzle, starting with a wild one, happening right now in the world's newest energy superpower.
So on the one hand, the United States is exporting energy at a pace we've literally never seen before, really cementing its dominance on the world stage. But at the exact same time, major energy companies are announcing significant job cuts right here at home. It's a global boom and a local bust happening simultaneously. How does that work?
And it doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Hop across the Atlantic and you've got these energy supermajors, the ones who are all in on their green credentials. Now they're quietly backing away from billion-dollar renewable projects. And get this, they're turning around and doubling down with massive new investments in old-school oil fields.
So what on earth is going on here, right? These aren't just random, isolated events. They're all symptoms of a much, much bigger shift. This, my friends, is the great energy paradox, and we are about to connect the dots.
Okay, let's dive into the first piece of this puzzle, this really strange disconnect happening inside the world's newest energy superpower.
9.5 million tons. Just let that number sink in. That is the amount of liquefied natural gas the U.S. shipped out in a single month recently. It's an all-time record. A huge chunk of that is heading straight to Europe, making America the indispensable energy supplier for its allies. It's just an incredible story of commercial and geopolitical strength.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the paradox really kicks in. At the very same time all this is happening, a U.S. supermajor, ConocoPhillips, announces it's cutting its workforce by a quarter, a full 25%. Now, this isn't a sign of weakness, but it is a sign of a fundamental tectonic shift in the industry.
So here's the crucial takeaway. What's good for global exports isn't necessarily translating to domestic job security anymore. The whole industry is retooling itself. They're becoming leaner, more automated, and absolutely laser-focused on shipping that energy abroad. It's a profound disconnect between global success and the local footprint.
All right, now let's hop over to Europe and see how this theme builds, because a very similar contradiction is playing out in corporate boardrooms, pitting all those green promises against cold, hard financial reality. In what you could call a moment of brutal honesty, Shell just pulled the plug on its flagship Biofuels project in Rotterdam. This thing was supposed to be a cornerstone of its green strategy. The official reason? Well, you see it right there. It was simply too expensive to be competitive. I mean, it doesn't get more direct than that. This is a capital decision, plain and simple.
And just as Shell is stepping back from green fuels, look at what BP is stepping into, a massive $25 billion deal to redevelop the giant Kirkuk oil fields in Iraq. This is not a short-term gamble. This is a huge bet on the long-term, multi-decade demand for oil.
And this just perfectly illustrates the new mood, doesn't it? The whole era of green at any cost seems to be winding down for some of the big players. Profitability is king again, it's taking precedence over promises, and now every single project, whether it's drilling for oil or building a biofuel plant, it has to justify its existence on the balance sheet.
Now, the final piece of our puzzle. This one might be the most complex. It's unfolding in the world of geopolitics, thanks to a really sophisticated new strategy coming out of Washington.
For years, U.S. sanctions were basically a blunt hammer, right? They were meant to just crush an adversary's economy. But that's changing. The new doctrine is to use sanctions more like a surgical scalpel, making these precise, targeted adjustments to manage global energy flows without, crushing the entire market.
And here is what that looks like in the real world. The U.S. is using its scalpel to carefully allow some Venezuelan oil back onto the market, which actually helps its own refiners. But at the same time, it's tightening the financial screws on Iran and its oil trade. Now, this isn't hypocrisy. It's active market management. The implication here is absolutely enormous. By deciding which adversary's oil is okay to sell and which isn't, Washington is effectively becoming the global gatekeeper for the world's spare barrels of oil. It is an incredibly powerful position of geopolitical influence. Okay, so we've looked at three very different, very contradictory stories. We've got a domestic paradox, a corporate pivot, and a geopolitical power play. Let's lay all the pieces out on the table and see what we've got.
What we're looking at are three core contradictions that are defining the energy world today. You've got the tension between America's global energy success and its own domestic workforce.
You've got the pivot from these ambitious green promises to hard-nosed fossil fuel pragmatism, and then you have this sanctions policy that is somehow both easing and tightening at the exact same time.
So what does this all mean in the end? It means the old, clear-cut rules of energy are fracturing. The market isn't just moving in one direction anymore. It's being pulled apart by these powerful, competing forces. And to really truly understand it, you have to get comfortable holding two completely opposite ideas in your head at once. Because the truth is, the entire future of our energy system, it's being forged right now, right in the heart of these paradoxes. And maybe the biggest question isn't which side will win. Maybe it's this: are we prepared to navigate a world where both sides are true at the very same time?